We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
I may not be a millionaire. I may not have a brand new Frigidaire. My clothes ain't all fancy, and my car ain't brand new. But there is joy in my house. I've got joy in my house.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Joy in My House, inspirational reality radio show with a touch of recovery. A reality radio show where nothing is left unsaid.
And no one is insignificant. Who says it?
I'm joined here by my co-host and recording artist, Lolita Robinson.
Hey,
Welcome
how
to
are
another
you?
Sunday.
Hey, glad to be here. Glad to be here.
We also have an in-studio guest today for the intro today,
Yeah.
Buddy Sampson. Buddy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me here. I'm so blessed to be here. Thank you.
We're glad to
for
have
having
you, buddy. Really glad.
If you guys are just joining us out of service, or if you're just tuning in with us, we want to thank you for being a part of the joy that we have in our house. I want you guys to be able to engage with us out there, all our listeners and viewers. All your support and love is much appreciated here, much appreciated. And I hope that we're touching and encouraging you and giving you a little bit of hope through our guests and through our stories here. And we would love to hear your stories and some of the things that you're going through and some of the joy that you have in your house through your struggles. You can find us on twitter.com/joyinmyhouse. You can find us on Facebook /joyinmyhouse, or link up with us directly here on www.latalklive.com. You can find all of our archive shows. Just click on shows, click on Join My House, and you can find some of our past shows on the website as well. And I want to just say welcome to another Sunday of Joy in My House.
Sorry I missed it last week. I understand it was a kind of a male thing. It was awesome.
was.
I know it was.
We had a great story with Travis Davis and John. It was a story of forgiveness, how they found each other.
That's amazing what happened with them.
Yeah, they Travis at the time was in his addiction, and so was John, and they actually got in a fight, and there was some stabbings, and Travis went to prison and did close to over 2 years.
Wow.
And came out and found a Celebrate Recovery meeting 8 months later, sees John walk in that door of Celebrate Recovery with his wife, and he forgave him on Thanksgiving Day.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm sorry I wasn't here. My mother had some issues, and I missed you guys, but I knew you could carry the thing. And I want to tell you, people, I have some amazing men here. Van Eric and Buddy and our Jeremy and you. I'm excited today. This is going to be awesome to see what God is doing with his men.
It really is.
Yeah.
If you're out there listening to us, or just if you're just listening to us and you want to stream us live, you can actually stream us on any mobile device. If you're listening to us on iTunes genre R&B, you can stream us live and watch the visual as well as the audio on Ustream.tv, and you can do that on any mobile device. Just type in Joy in My House or LA Talk Live. Buddy, I want to welcome Buddy to the show. He's going to do a great event Saturday, June 22nd. Tell us about this event, Buddy.
First of all, thanks a lot, guys, for having me here. I feel blessed to be in the studio with you guys. And Lolita, what a talent you are. That song was just amazing.
Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to coming out and giving you some props too. I'm really behind what you're doing, but let's tell the audience what's going on.
Well, first of all, we're doing an event to benefit Children's Hospital on June the 22nd. We're doing it at Hemingway's Lounge in Hollywood, which is right at the corner of Hollywood and Ivar. I'm also debuting my new band, which is Buddy Sampson and Friends, and we have this terrific violinist playing with us named Rachel Grace, who's amazing. You got to come and see it.
Okay.
I think we're definitely going to come out and give you some support, and it's for a great cause. Tell us the cause one more time.
It's for Children's Hospital Los Angeles, and what our hope is, because there's also a lot of children that are in need, they can't afford medical care and that kind of stuff. So we want to make sure that the proceeds from this event go to Children's Hospital, because my two causes, and I always wanted to actually do music for two reasons. Number one, to glorify God. And number two, to use my music as a platform to help others. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
You were talking about, I was asking you, you don't get any compensation for this.
No,
you said you didn't even care about it. I mean, that's okay.
I absolutely don't care about compensation. The only thing that I want is to make sure that the expenses for the event are covered, and also that the Children's Hospital Los Angeles gets a check from the proceeds. $100, $200, every little bit helps. So if you're listening out there, if you can donate to the hospital, please make a check to Children's Hospital Los Angeles. I'm sure they would be glad, like, for any little bit you can help them with.
Well, we want to come out. I'm planning
Well,
on it unless I have to work. I don't think so, but I'd like
I'm
to come
definitely
out.
would like to come out as well.
Yeah.
And let us know about your band and where they can find you. Do you have a Facebook page or where they can find more information regarding this event?
Well, actually, I'm also a publisher of a newspaper called The Scoop LA, which has been around since 1967.
Wow,
And
buddy.
if you go to thescoopla.com, www.thescoopla.com, you can find information on the event and also find out great other stories that we're working on as well.
Oh, that's
very
amazing.
good.
Amazing. Well, I'm just blessed to hear what you said about the Lord, because that's what this is all about.
Yeah, we always say, and
Yeah.
Lolita really mentions it and stresses that this is a platform. A lot of people like to be on stage to entertain, but here, hopefully, this platform is being used to
Yeah, you're
encourage
using
and
it
bring
in a
hope.
beautiful way. And the homeless, too, is your heart, too,
Well,
right?
it is, and that's also the focus of the Scoop LA. We only do positive stories. We don't do the tabloid stuff or the gossip stuff or anything. We only do stories that are meant to inspire and
Oh,
encourage.
wow.
Very
Okay,
good.
that's because people need that during this time.
Absolutely.
We need
and,
hope.
And we don't need enough of it. I think everyone's tired of hearing about Britney Spears and all that kind of stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
It's about time that you guys do a great job of it, of
Thank you.
spreading inspirational messages. We need that today. Things are about as bad as they
Oh,
have
you're not
ever been
kidding.
with homelessness and stuff. So we need people like yourselves that
We need
put
one
out
another.
their positive messages. So I
Yes.
appreciate what you guys do.
Oh, buddy,
Same-
it's an
same
honor
to
meeting
you.
you.
And we met at the Women of War event, which you came out and supported, which was another positive event. And our guest today, ladies and gentlemen, is Jeremy Staat from the Jeremy Staat Foundation, who also lended their time for the Women of War event, which is going to come on and talk about his foundation and the prevalence of suicides in the military, which is really, really a heavy topic, but something that really needs to be discussed and hopefully be educated on as well. So we want to thank you, all you listeners and viewers out there. I want you guys to go on lascoop.com, find out about Buddy and his event that's coming up on June 22nd at Hemingway's Lounge at 5:30 p.m. and support
Yeah,
the
come out.
LA Hope,
It's actually the LA. It's actually the ScoopLA.com.
the ScoopLA.com. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
And it's going to be on June 22nd, and visit the Scoop LA to find out more information.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to it, and it's a pleasure meeting you, buddy.
Thank you guys for having me on the show. It's been a pleasure.
And you
We're
look
gonna have
so
to have
cool.
you back and have you play some of your music.
Yeah.
Yes,
There's
sure,
something-
anytime. Just let me know. I'm there.
All right. Okay.
Ladies and
We'll
gentlemen, if
set it
you're
up.
just tuning in,
Thank you
please
very much.
join us here live on LA Talk Live. This is Joy in My House, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. We're looking forward to it.
Cry to my God for help from his temple. He heard my voice and all else. My cry came deep before him, and he heard. Not one prayer was unanswered. He heard every word. Oh. How can I tell you I love you with all my heart? What can I give you? You don't have. You created such splendor untold, and all creation praises your name. I wanna stand and tell the whole world. Oh, I cry to my God for help from his temple. He heard my voice and all else. My cry came deep before him, and he heard. Not one prayer was unanswered. He heard every word. Oh, so many promises.
Young Connection, your one-stop connection for all your graphic design and commercial printing needs. Young Connection is a full-service printing and media design company dedicated to providing the highest level of customer service and satisfaction. Young Connection provides swift response and rapid turnaround services for banners, brochures, business cards, letterheads, church bulletins, funeral programs, flyers, logo design, posters, and much, much more, all at an affordable price. Young Connection, the official printing company of LA Talk Live. Give them a call at 310-491-3336. That's 310-491-3336, or visit their website at www.youngconnection.com. That's www.youngconnection.com. Young Connection Printing and Media Services, proud sponsors of LA Talk Live, where it's more than just talk.
Welcome back to Join My House, ladies and gentlemen. Inspirational reality radio show with a touch of recovery. I'm joined here by my co-host Lolita Robinson and
How you
recording
doing?
artist.
It's good to be back. It really is. It's really good to be
I
back.
missed you, I'll tell you that.
Well, I missed you too. I know you've been so busy and stuff, but it is good to be back.
We got things going on, and we have our in-studio guest today,
Yes.
Jeremy Staat from the Jeremy Staat Foundation. Welcome to the show.
That's right.
thank you.
That's
Good
right.
morning.
Yep. Good morning, Jeremy. So good to see you here.
Oh, thank you. It's
and
good to be back.
hopefully Tristan, right? Is that your son?
Yes, Tristan, my 10-month-old.
Oh, he's 10 months.
10 months,
Oh,
yeah.
how cute. Okay, all right.
Got a little bit of a fever, got a little bit of runny nose this morning, so I was just holding him this morning before I drove up here from Bakersfield.
And
but,
Janelle is the.
Janelle's my wife. Yeah,
Is-
she's
oh,
at home.
Janelle,
we were
love
actually
to
gonna
you.
come down. We were gonna come down, but he
Oh.
was sick, so.
Okay, well, Janelle, love to you. You take care of that guy.
Oh,
Okay, here we go.
She will.
Well, I want to thank Jeremy for coming on the show. He has an amazing foundation, the Jeremy Staat Foundation, that deals with suicides in the armed forces, which is something very prevalent. We had an opportunity to meet because you donated your time and your energy, as Lolita did, for the Women of War event. For the Women of War event, and we want to thank you for being a part of that documentary that's out as well. So thank you for that, and welcome to today's show.
Oh, no worries.
And you made me feel comfortable because I don't do red carpet events, and that's kind of new for me. And I was talking to you about, you're a Marine, right? And my brother was a Marine. So just to and I didn't know you were going to be on our show. God is good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that
And
was actually my first red
Was
carpet
it too?
event, too.
Well, you know what? He put us together, and,
Oh,
and
it
I
was
felt
divine.
really comforting. You gave me a hug. You didn't even know me. And Janelle was a friendly hug.
Oh, yeah. It's a divine meeting, and you know what? There's tons of those. People might say they're coincidences, but I don't call them coincidences.
I don't
they're
either.
divine meetings. You know,
They
and-
are.
And they happen often, and in my life they're miracles, and I'm no one perfect, but I try to live a righteous life, and I try to do the best I can. But when you have those divine appointments with people,
Yes,
we
you
really
do.
got to embrace those, because we're all working for the same cause.
That's right.
Yes, we are.
And so
Yes,
when
we
you,
are.
When you meet people like you guys, like I said, I mean, that Women of War thing was completely just. I mean, it was an amazing event. I mean, I learned about it I think a week and a half before
Yeah, how
with
did you guys?
Tyrone.
How did it all happen with you guys?
Well, I met through Deborah Hayter
Right.
and Join My House sponsoring the Women of War event, and then I met Jeremy at the event, and we talked. And I talked with your one of, I think he's one of your marketing directors, Matt. So we had a chance to talk as we were setting up for our tables with your material for the event itself, and we just kind of chat. And I kind of dismissed it because I was so involved in the event and you performing there that night that I didn't really get an opportunity. But we got to meet again at the Beverly Hills event when they were
You were there
premiering.
too. Were you dressed in your?
I
She
was
was dressed in
my
the blues.
You know, it's
Ah,
crazy.
it's
You
really
want to
phenomenal
go back
that you
to
do
see how
that.
far this thing was actually in the works. I mean,
Okay.
we had to go back like 15 years ago
What?
because I was drafted in. I was originally from Bakersfield, California. I was a two-sport athlete in high school. Played well enough to earn a full ride scholarship to Arizona State University, where I met my friend Pat Tillman, who was the Arizona
That's right.
Cardinal.
You were sharing about that.
Mhm.
You were close.
We're actually going to get into that, but before we continue, we're going to get into all that, but I wanted to make sure you got an award last night, which I don't want to overshadow that. The Bakersfield Award, the Humanitarian Award in Bakersfield. Tell me what that's about.
It's called a Beautiful Bakersfield Award, and basically, they had 101 different nominees for different categories, just people who, have the humanitarian spirit, who are going out and trying to make their communities a better place. And I was nominated for a what they call, the humanitarian award, basically just an individual award, and I was nominated for it. And last night I was blessed with it, and I don't feel deserving of it, only because I'm only doing what I'm led to do, and that's to serve.
Is that because of your foundation? With
the foundation, yeah, I talked to over.
That's how it came about being nominated.
Yeah, absolutely. All the service that I did in the community last year, I helped raise over $540,000 for different organizations in the community. I also spoke to, over 45,000 kids in the Kern County area, and I did it all free of charge. My foundation is based on bringing motivational, inspirational speaking into the classrooms through a veteran speaking board without taking any financial resources away from our lacking educational system. And the reason for that is that, I found out that our motivational, inspirational speakers that were going to our schools were charging anywhere from $3,500 to $10,000 an hour.
Are you serious?
To go and motivate and inspire our kids. I go, wait a minute, man, we got plenty of people just in our own communities who are inspirational and motivating. They'd go and do it for free.
Wow.
Why are we exploiting our kids when we got teachers who are having to pay for pencils and pens and to teach our kids?
Know that.
Oh yeah, I said no. This is absolutely not.
So this goes beyond sports.
Oh, absolutely. This sports was just a stepping stone.
I'm talking about the Marines.
Oh, Marine Corps. Yeah, Marine Corps. Well, we want to get into it now.
Well, let's start off.
Yeah, don't forget the 15 years because I'm so nosy. I want to know everything.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's start off your family of origin. Where did you grow up?
Grew up in Bakersfield, California. I graduated in high school in 1994. I was a two-sport athlete. I went to Bakersfield High School, graduated there, and then
Bakersfield.
Bakersfield. That's right. That's that town about 100 miles north of LA here that everybody loves talking about.
It's way out there too. I know.
Yeah. Hollywood loves making fun of Bakersfield. It's one of those things where even in the movie Castaway, Tom Hanks made fun of Bakersfield because remember that Porta John thing, Bakersfield. But grew up there, went to junior college, Bakersfield Junior College, and then studied well enough and earned a full-ride scholarship to Arizona State University, where I played.
On your free ride, on your full ride to Arizona State, was it an athletic scholarship or an?
Oh yeah, definitely an athletic.
My sister asked me, "Is he a linebacker for my?" I know him as a Marine, but I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely an athletic scholarship, but I was blessed with it.
Yeah, you could have been the NFL.
Oh, I did. I played. Yeah, I went in, played 2 years at Arizona State, played in the Rose Bowl in '97, played in the Sun Bowl in '96, and then was drafted in the NFL in 1998. I was the second round draft pick, 41st pick overall, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Whoa.
Played 3 years with the Steelers and then signed on with the Seattle Seahawks, the Oakland Raiders, and then finished up with the St. Louis Rams. But while I was at Arizona State, I met a guy named Pat Tillman. Of course, he was the professional football player with the Arizona Cardinals who turned down a $3.6 million contract to join the Army Rangers and was unfortunately killed by friendly fire in Afghanistan in 2004. So after he was killed, I went ahead and enlisted in the Marine Corps.
Did you do that because of Pat? As
no,
a way
actually,
of
the secular world would say that I did it because of Pat to revenge his death. But the real reason I did that is because at the time I wasn't living the right life. I wasn't living a righteous life. I was drinking, drugs, living the NFL, the rock star reality show.
Is it as rough? I'm sure everybody doesn't have to get involved, but there's probably all kinds of things that open up themselves.
But many
to the
people
NFL.
think that that's what it's supposed to be like. All this reality show, everything that we see on TV, it's all about getting your own and doing this and doing that. And so I believed the lie, and I was out there living it and drinking and doing all this kind of crazy stuff. And I actually joined the Marine Corps to learn how to serve others besides myself.
Well, were you a Christian in your home? Did you ask him that?
No, but go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, I was born and raised. My mom's actually a licensed pastoral pastor. She was actually the matriarch of the family, always praying, always guiding, hey, stupid, go this way, I'll pray for you, and kind of thing. And I was born and raised in the church. And after probably high school, once I started kind of getting a big name, I was in the paper for football.
I can imagine. You just, when you walk in, it's just like, wow.
Yeah, football or track and field, I was always in the paper and always doing interviews on TV. And I lost my identity, through Christ. I kind of started
getting into you.
Yeah, getting into me. It's all about Jeremy Staat. I'm the state champion in the shot put. I'm the guy that's going to the Olympics in the shot put and discus. I'm the guy that all these different accolades. And like I said, I lost my identity, and then going to Arizona State University at the time, we were the number 2 party school in the nation.
Wow.
So I really started
just really
walking.
partied on down.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Where was your dad in all this?
Oh, he was around.
Okay.
He was around.
Was he football? Is he?
No, no. He was. He enjoyed his hunting and fishing and did his thing. And
so he's a low key guy.
But he gave me some good life lessons. But it was always my mom that was always the one that was praying and saying, hey, you need to get right. You need to do this. You need to go to church. And so after about 10 years of that, I finally came back and realized, this ain't a way of living. This is a way of dying. And so the Marine Corps was actually where I went in to earn the discipline to get back to the basics of what life's about. And it's about service.
Marines, so they are. I'm not just saying it for my brothers, but that is a hardcore.
That's the most elite out there as far as just basic infantry or basic military. I mean, it's all about the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps has the longest, the most strictest boot camp out there. And then the other other branches have the different like the special forces, like the Army, the Marine Corps has to go through like Army or Navy special forces schools because the Marine Corps don't have the money for it. So we use their schools and get trained that way. But when it comes down to it, the gist of it, just getting in, I mean, the Marine Corps has the most discipline and probably the
The
hardest.
nuts and bolts.
Absolutely.
I love what you just said. I mean, that's you should write that up.
I'm working on it.
What'd you say about where you were going was to die? You chose the Marines to live. I mean, that's pretty phenomenal. Say that again for our people out there who are looking at you. Have what it takes to be on a reality show. You had all the accolades, but didn't you like what he said about
Yeah, I mean,
the way
I
of dying
played for
with
the
all that?
NFL, and you had this fast track life
Well,
where
I mean, let's think about
everybody looks for that. Everybody says that's
Heck
where I want
yeah.
to be. I want to get drafted.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's an amazing testimony.
But think about where it comes from, though. We think that, with money comes, all my problems are solved. No, with money, more problems come. Because the thing about it, especially with drinking, okay, we go out drinking, we have a good time, woohoo, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, we're going home with some
Beautiful chick, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Somebody
Yeah.
we don't know. We don't even know their name. The next morning we're waking up going, oh my God, you know what?
What
I don't
just
know who
happened?
she is. I don't
Yeah.
know what, whatever. And you do that day in and day out, and all of a sudden you're opening yourself up to spiritual bondage, unwanted
Wow.
pregnancies, diseases, all these different things. We all think it's kind of cool. So, it's just like one of those things where you're going, okay, so that you got that aspect of it. And then you take the chance, okay, I've been drinking. I go out and I start driving. So then you put other people's lives at risk, not even your own, but other people's lives. And okay, let's throw a little bit of weed in there, throw a little bit of cocaine in there. Next thing you have all these different elements. It's just a perfect mix for bad things. I mean, nothing. One of our coaches, God rest his soul, Coach Snyder always say, nothing good happens after midnight.
Okay,
Nothing
I agree
good.
with that. My
My
mother
mother used to say
that.
that.
My mother did too.
You know what I
What you
mean?
got to be out there?
But
Yeah.
it's true. I think we want to live
Yeah.
that fantasy life, and a lot of the media and a lot of the television shows out there portray
everything,
that.
everything
They
portrays
show
that.
the glamorous part of it, the fun part of it, but they don't show any of the consequences that happen after the fact. Like you said, unwanted pregnancies, diseases, and then even that. Those things are individual things. Then you start adding, like you said, drinking and driving, killing somebody, affecting somebody else's life.
Yeah, they don't show that. I remember you were telling me that how you used to watch a show. I'm not going to say it because we could get sued. You'd get your popcorn and wine and watch it every
I
week.
used to watch this show every week, and I was just addicted
and
to it.
it's
And I was
very,
acting
very
out.
worldly and
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
and then.
And
but-
I remember you telling me, but they don't show any of the consequences. Well, after I stopped my addiction, I started living the consequences of my actions. And I would watch the show after I sobered up, and I'd say, yeah, but they're not showing what really happens after.
Yeah.
And it actually, I had a really bad reaction to it. I had to stop watching it for, I think, over 3-4 years. I can watch it now, but I'm at a different perspective.
place. Yeah.
Well, it's like me. I mean, I'll watch some of
This
these
is
shows.
awesome.
I'll watch some of these shows, and I have to watch them very sparingly. Just because I'll watch. Okay, let me get the content. Okay, this is crap. Just so that when I go out and speak to the kids, I know what they're doing. I know what they're doing with. So I have to be able to relate with these kids. So I expose myself to some trash that I probably shouldn't be looking at. But at the same time, I got to know what they're looking at.
Yeah, you have
I have to know
a
so I can
credibility.
so I can connect with these
Right.
kids. And I'm not perfect. My God, I'm not perfect. Like I said, we talked about earlier about the
Yeah,
stuff that's going on
what
back at
happened
the
with your
house.
neighbor,
And I
but
said,
you made amends. You want to tell about the
absolutely,
amends.
hey, you got to you come forward, you come clean, you admit, be accountable, and you move forward. That's what love is. You don't no account of wrongdoings and this kind of thing. I love my neighbors, and my neighbors are good neighbors, but we're a family, and families fight, and it's how we come back together. And so I made an apology to them and said, hey, I was wrong for what I did, and come clean with it. And I mean, that's it. We're moving forward. But at the same time, with these reality shows and stuff like that, you don't see the consequences of their actions. The big thing is like my wife Janelle, used to like watching these other shows. I guess I can't say they're.
Yeah, we got to be careful. Yeah.
But these housewives or whatever,
Whatever,
they're constantly just bickering, back and forth about nonsense, about nothing. But at the same time, it affects your life.
It pulls you in.
It pulls you in. Same thing with me, like music. I listen to just straight up 88.8, which is a local Christian station in town. That's all I listen to. I have XM, but I don't know.
But you know the danger of it. See, that's why it's important. And I know we're going to eventually get into the subject of how the enemy uses to take people's lives. It's the messages that are out there.
Well, like Women of War, like Women of War, watching that documentary and listening to this stuff, I was appalled going, wait a minute. Okay, first off, I'll be honest. I don't agree with women on the front lines.
Okay.
I'm just saying, for me, as a man, we should be protecting our women.
Yeah,
and
that's
as
my
mo-
heart too.
and
As a mother, I think I would be. But I don't begrudge the women who do it. I think they're so courageous, but I cringe when I hear it.
And I know there's no drawing front lines or any of that kind of
Right,
stuff, but I'm just
right.
saying, in the grunts, no, I don't believe in that, because at the same time, like I said, I want to be a man, I want to protect our women, and as military members, we're supposed to be protecting our brothers and sisters. And so the stuff, the sexual assault that's running rampant through the military, it's like, wait a minute, where's our accountability? We're supposed to be men, but we've lost track of what it is to be a man. You know what I mean? And to me, a man is just being accountable for your actions and being honest.
Being a hubby and having a 10-month-old, protecting him when people are loud and being rambunctious and throwing beer cans in your, and you went out there telling them, hey.
Enough's enough.
Being accountable, but at the same time,
right.
I'm not perfect, but I don't claim to be perfect, and but at the same time, we've got to draw a line in the sand.
We talk about this on the show as well. We claim we're Christians, we claim that we're these men or these people, these followers of Christ, and we're open up to judgment. We're open up to scrutiny.
Because you're human.
And I think a lot of people, when you stand for something, it's almost like they make a bigger effort to tear it down. And it's sad that we have that ignorance or that jealousy. When you see somebody stand for something, it's almost like, oh, they stand for something and I'm not standing for anything, so let me break them down. Let me tell them, well, you're not really being a Christian, are you, for every little mistake that they make, as if they were perfect. And I think that's a tough thing, especially when you have a foundation and you're trying to do what's right and you're making an effort that people,
you're a bigger target too.
You're a bigger target.
And that's the thing. I've had people tell me, they've come in and looked at my foundation and said, Jeremy, there's one problem with your foundation. And I said, really? What is that? And they said, well, you're too transparent and you're too clean. Maybe you need to mucky it up a little bit. I'm like, well, no, that's not. I'll be honest with you. I mean, this is who I am, and nobody's ever going to hold anything above me, because if I do something wrong, hey, I'll be the first person to admit to it, and be open with it as Christians and being humble about it. There's things that, I'm not right all the time, but there's times.
Well, you just told us what happened in your life. I mean, your mother obviously prayed you through. You just told us you got involved with whatever you could get involved with,
But that was the credibility. Now I can go to other kids and say, look, I did this. It wasn't right.
You've been there.
Yeah, I've been there, done that. And I always tell kids, a wise man learns from his mistakes, but a wiser man learns from the mistakes of others. A wiser man learns from the mistakes of others. If it didn't work for him, if drugs and alcohol and all this stuff didn't work for this guy, it's probably not going to work for you. And so, those are one of the things that I do. But, like I said, going back to, my life story, going back to the 15 years ago, going through Pittsburgh, when I played with Pittsburgh, I was actually back in Pittsburgh just a couple of weeks ago talking to a gentleman back there, a veteran who were trying to start up a taxi service going nationwide with it. And I met Tyrone. Tyrone is out of San Francisco, and Tyrone had the connection with you guys down in Hollywood, and all this happened within like 3 weeks.
Wow.
So you talk
3 weeks.
So you talk
You're
about
not kidding.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. It was a divine connection. Here I'm talking to Bob DeLucia in Pittsburgh, and where I just happened to be in Pittsburgh, being a Steeler there. Met him, made contact with him, then met with Tyrone, who's out of San Francisco, who knew you guys down here.
Well, look how God had it. See, the thing that's so phenomenal is that you have this football, the sports thing that you could, do, but God wanted this side of the service because he wanted to reach this other cause. So it's just a phenomenal how God put all this together, but for different reasons. Did you think that you'd be speaking against for suicide or any of that?
Absolutely not. When it comes to suicide, that was just one of the. It was funny.
Yeah,
I was told one time that if you have the heart of service, you don't have time for anything else. And it was meaning if you were serving all the time, you don't have time to go out and go drinking. You don't have time to do drugs because you're always doing something. True. And here I am, 2 years later, like I don't have time for anything. It's like I'm constantly serving, and there's so much need out there, and so. Going through the veteran suicide, I started doing some fundraising for what they call the Wall of Valor. The Wall of Valor is a living memorial in Bakersfield, California, and it houses it immortalizes the 1,013 names of Kern County veterans who have died since World War II from Kern County. And as I'm going through it, I started realizing like some of the same names upon the Wall of Valor were the exact same names upon the Vietnam Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C. I said, so what can I do to help these guys? What can I do to give recognition to these guys? How can I serve our Vietnam conflict there above us? Because these guys, when they came home, they got spit on. They got called baby killers. They were crucified.
That's right. You did say that.
They were crucified for just doing their service. And
you did say that. I remember now.
Yeah, and it was by a big government that said, hey, we're going to war. Right. We're going to bring the draft. And if you don't get, if you don't come with us, you're going to be called a deserter. And we're going to put your butt in jail for 2 years. And so these guys didn't have a choice. They were forced. And then when they come back.
And then when they come back, they were chastised.
They were eaten up.
Oh, okay. So the Wall of Valor up in Kern County they were discredited Vietnam.
No, some of them were. The Vietnam vets, where some of them were from Kern County.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
so the
I
names that were on
see.
the wall of valor.
But they didn't get the same prestige as the.
No, but I just realized that some of the same names here
Mm.
were on the Vietnam Memorial Wall in
Oh,
Washington D.C. because there's
wow.
58,282 veterans that
Okay, I
died in
see.
Vietnam.
Okay.
They're saying 40% was by friendly fire. We
Wow.
killed our own guys, and so. But my thing is like I noticed that the
Okay.
suicide rate was higher amongst our Vietnam veterans. 58,282 Vietnam veterans died in combat, but we lost over 168,000 due to suicide here in the United States. And I started looking at these numbers, going, "Wow, that's unbelievable." So I
The
started.
stats are astronomical.
So I started doing some, research on it, and I
Mhm.
figured, how can I bring glory to these men? How can I serve them? Because I don't think these men are killing themselves of what they were exposed to or what they saw in Vietnam.
Mhm.
They're killing themselves for what they had to hold in.
Mm.
What was
What
on
they
their
couldn't
heart,
talk
what they
about.
couldn't talk about. So give them a
Yeah.
voice. I mean, in America, we have the right to speak.
Right.
In right, wrong, or indifferent. Hey, if I don't agree with you, that's okay. You know what? We're
Yeah.
Americans. Hey, I don't agree. We can agree to disagree. We're at an impasse. But I still love you as my friend. I take your opinion. I might not agree with it, but this is America. We're not going to chop each other's hands off because you don't
Right.
agree
Right.
with me.
Right.
And so the basis thing was to go out and to serve these Vietnam guys, to give them a voice, and to tell them thank you for your service. And through it, it took me 3,468 miles across the country through 16 states, 78 cities. I rode a bicycle trying to raise awareness about veteran suicide.
And when we come back,
Wow.
we're going to talk
Goodness,
about the Jeremy Staat Foundation and what it's done to bring awareness and educating us on suicide in the
Yeah.
armed forces. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joy in My House. I want you to stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss
Not
Jeremy
a
Staat
bit of
and the
it.
Staat Foundation. We'll be right back.
Can't sleep, my mind's been racing, 'cause my stocks have taken a dive. No doubt the landlord's waiting, can't pay my rent again this month. There has been war debating, missile attacks are awaiting. There's been so many changes, whoa, enough to blow your mind. Oh, my life needs rearranging. Been building on the sand, I'll build on the rock next time. Oh, hang out with my buddies, 'cause I'm standing in the unemployment line. I'm stressed so much of the time, so many foreclosure signs. I'm trying to find love online. Is this the day they'll tow my car away? There's pressure all around. Jesus said, stop your fretting. The birds eat and they don't sweat it. There's been so many changes, whoa, enough to blow your mind. Oh, my life is rearranging. Been building on the sand, I'll build on the rock next time. I am so confused. Lord,
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Join My House, inspirational reality radio show with a touch of recovery, a reality radio show where nothing is left unsaid.
And no one who says it is insignificant. I said it wrong, but I'm so taken in with the story. Who cares?
I'm joined here by author of Shaped by the Master's Hands, Lolita Robinson, and our in-studio guest, Jeremy
Yes.
Staat from the Jeremy Staat Foundation.
Mhm.
Welcome back to the
Yay.
show.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah. And yay
Wow.
to Tyrone who tied all this in.
Oh, yeah.
Very quickly, I wanted to touch base before we start talking about the Jeremy Staat Foundation is your tour in Iraq. I got a chance to read and how that really opened your eyes. That really opened your eyes to what the media portrays or what you thought you were going to experience there. But was actually the experience you had.
Well, it's crazy. When you watch the news, you think it's, for me, it was like, oh my God, dude, we're flying in here. We're going to be firing our way in. We're going to be fighting our way in and fighting our way out.
Yeah,
Because you see
really.
it on the news and you think this. And so in 2007, I was deployed to Haditha, Iraq, which is right on the Euphrates River. The Euphrates River, Haditha Dam. The Tigris River's off to the east a little bit. But, that's all in that Fertile Crescent right there, and Haditha, Iraq was actually it was kind of like the resort for like Saddam and his regime, because it was really beautiful right on the river. It's
Really?
really beautiful,
Okay.
And I was there, and the greatest thing about it is that we were actually one of the first infantry battalions to bring everybody home, minus a finger, and a guy busted up his face when they hit an IED. But
Really?
we replaced the Marine unit that had lost, I think it was 23 Marines and 3 corpsmen. And so we come in there the week before we get there. They had a suicide bomber come through on a bicycle. Basically, the frame of the bicycle was packed with TNT. Well, luckily he didn't kill anybody but himself. But we come in there and we found probably 6 to 8 IEDs. We got shot at a couple times. We got
But it
rocketed
wasn't what
once.
we were told.
Nothing, we were on a tier 1 IED site, so there was actually a lot of IEDs on our FOB, our forward operating
What are
base.
IEDs?
Improvised explosive devices.
Okay,
So basically they use, it's pretty ingenious the way they do these things. We have all this $1 million technology, and they're building bombs with 2-cent pieces of copper wire and
Okay, and it's effective, yeah.
spoons and stuff. It's just pretty ingenious how they made these weapons. But so I was stationed there. My unit actually hit an IED. One kid lost his finger. Another kid busted up his face on his 240 from the blast. I was about 60 yards from the blast, so no big deal. But we had it pretty mild, and then we left, and the unit that replaced us was a reserve unit. And I believe they got hammered pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah.
But
boy.
it's just amazing how God, pushes us. I knew I wasn't going to die in the sands of Iraq. I knew that God had a bigger plan. And when my unit hit the IED, it was funny because I was actually the lead turret gunner in my 7-ton. So I was actually the first gunner on the turret. And we're out there doing what they call desert denial. And we're basically out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Just going to because anything off about maybe 200 or 300 yards off of the river is just desert. They don't have the irrigation to get it out over to the rest of the place, so it's just desert. So we're just out in the middle of the desert going through dirt, and we get ready to go down an incline. And I was kind of sitting up over the front of my turret, looking down at the path of the 7-ton, looking for IEDs and looking for anything out of the ordinary. And I just felt something kind of go, "Sit down, stupid," kind of like push me on my chest. And so I sat down. And then probably about 45 seconds later, kaboom!
Oh,
You know,
wow.
Our Victor 3 hit it. Our vehicle 3 hit it. So my 7-ton rolled over it, and then a Humvee rolled over it, and then the third Humvee rolled over it, and it, went outside the tracks and basically hit the IED and blew up. But this is like, it's just by chance. We're out in the middle of nowhere,
Right.
and we hit this thing. But like I said, it's just I felt something say, "Sit down, stupid," and I just sat back in my gun turret, and then boom. But it's weird because when blast that close, it's not kaboom. You think kaboom.
Yeah.
It's like brown. It's weird. I don't know if the sound waves are so large that your ears can't pick it up, but it's like brown. But we had the Airlift 2 guys out of there. So
How did you feel when you came back?
Yeah, you said it shaped your life or something.
It kind of
What
it
was the
opened your
question?
eyes were open to.
Well, the biggest thing there was like, we're thinking these people are our enemies, our enemies, our enemies, our enemies, our enemies. But it's crazy that a laugh is the same in any language. It's kind of like hallelujah means the same in every language. But it's like, I saw these people, I saw the kids, and they're just people.
Yeah.
But
and we lose sight of that.
We lose sight of that. And sometimes, we have our extremists and stuff like that. And I always, I'm kind of like, profile these guys because we're tired of these terrorist attacks here. But at the same time, they were just people. And if we could somehow get to them, talk to them and soften their hearts and tell them, but hey, America's not a bad place. It's a great land of opportunity. We love it. And it's our home. But
And you're receptive to that. We know a lot of missionaries who go over there to those. I'm surprised. Families as yourself, they go to, and it's not. There's a lot of loving people, and it's good that you said that to
absolutely. Well, it's crazy.
lump everybody as extremists. That's not true.
There was actually one point where I was in Iraq. I was actually talking to an Iraqi police officer, and we were literally muzzle tip to muzzle tip. His AK-47 was overlapping my M16A2, and we were sitting there rapping about religion. He was telling me about the Muslim faith, and I was telling him about Jesus, and Christianity, and we sat there and talked for probably a good hour and a half, just rapping back and forth. Muhammad is this, Jesus Christ is that, and da 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 da. Hey, okay, I understand. We're at that impasse. Hey, we agree to disagree.
Right.
Oh, see,
You know what I mean?
but you're giving a whole new spin on it. Not a new. I'm sure the people are out there saying the same thing, but it's not what the media portrays. everybody. There's a lot of loving people. We need to keep that in mind that they're
That
like
they're
we
people,
are.
yeah.
Yeah, there's still people. Like I said, I didn't go over there to kill them.
Mhm.
Everybody's but if I had to, I will. But I mean, at the same time, it was more or less to go over there and to defend them from the bad people out there, because there's evil in the world. And sometimes we live in our lives and we think that's all good, but there are people out there who just don't like good.
Right.
They just
Yeah.
Right.
either they weren't brought up that
Doesn't
way. Or
have
they
to be
just don't know.
American. It's just good, whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
So coming back home, I just saw a huge need to go out there and serve my communities. I've served my country, and so I moved back to Bakersfield. After I met my wife Janelle.
Yes, I want to hear
Janelle.
about
I wanna
Janelle.
hear-
Hi,
yeah.
Janelle.
How did you meet her?
Janelle, okay.
Yeah, I'm getting him into it because he rolls his eyes. I'm asking everybody, tell me about your family, you know.
Well, okay, so 2007. I'm in Iraq, and then I come home.
Because I know my friends are going, he's cute. Forget it, he's married.
happily married. But we came back, and God works in mysterious ways, and come back home, and basically I was dating another girl at the time, and she
Okay.
started doing like you call yourself a Christian, da da da. Don't accuse me of my Christianity. You don't even go to church, da da da. And then Janelle just basically was placed in my life. She was
Churchgoer, obviously.
No, she was at the time.
okay.
No, she was a travel and surgical tech. She was from Scottsdale, Arizona.
Ooh, go ahead, girl.
She's actually like my ex-girlfriend's younger sister's best friend. So there's 9
Okay,
years.
okay.
Nine-
See, girls, I have a little.
yeah,
See.
9 years. 9 years difference between us. But what happened is I was stationed in.
She's older,
Younger.
younger.
So
Okay.
I was stationed in Kaneohe
Listen
Bay,
to me,
Hawaii.
cougar.
Yeah, Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, and she came out to work at Tripler Army Medical Center as a surgical tech.
Okay.
And her friend Lana at the time said, "Hey, we'll look up Jeremy. He's there. He's a great guy. Blah blah blah." And so basically, Janelle, we laugh about it because every time we go to Walmart, it's like this is where it happened because we went to Walmart. And
Okay, Walmart.
I gave her a ride to Walmart.
the new
'cause-
eHarmony.
just to help her out, and the girl that I was dating at the time got all jealous and stuff. I'm like, wow, that's not even what it was about. But basically, Janelle and I have been together ever since that day.
Oh.
But we moved back to Bakersfield in 2009. We got engaged on her birthday, and then got engaged or married on my birthday in 2009. And we had our first child. I have a 10-month-old baby, Tristan.
Wow.
Tristan
Congratulations
Garrett.
on
Thank
that.
you. He's the best. And
You'll have to spend Christ in here, how you got back, because we got so much to get to.
oh yeah, well basically, Janelle and I were going to church at New Hope, Pastor Wayne Cadero's church.
Who got you back? Your mom? You just, or
I
when
know
you
I
got
did.
back in the Marines?
I
you
did. No,
decided,
that was way
Lord,
before. Actually, after Pat's death, it was funny because I was a anti-Christian, anti-everything, and this gentleman there was a black pastor that got up there, and he had never met Pat. He said he never met Pat, but I want to kind of give you a scenario of who Pat Tillman was, and maybe Pat talking to God. And he goes through this whole scenario, and of course I'm sitting there with a beer, like, yeah, whatever, you don't know Pat, you're a pastor.
Are you kidding?
Oh, I was bad. I mean, Kurt Warner was another guy I played with, and I thought I was there to destroy his life because I wanted to take his knee out because he was like, hey guys, let's be, and I was like, no. But basically he gets up there and he starts going through the scenario like, hey Pat, I know you were an atheist, you didn't believe in my word, but maybe I used your death to bring somebody back.
Wow.
And we're sitting at the 50-yard line at Arizona. Give me goosebumps. 50-yard line at Arizona State University, and the sky opened up. And it was like, he's talking to you, stupid. And I remember I had my $5,000 suit on, and I walked out the stadium, and I took the beer and I threw it up in the stadium. And from that point on, I just started. My life started.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Mama,
so-
those
He
seeds,
used that
those
moment.
seeds, he
Oh,
used
absolutely.
The seeds that were planted. I could just see it in
Oh,
your eyes.
absolutely.
That's why the Lord said to ask him about that,
And there's things in our lives that we
seeds
see.
Seeds planted, mamas plant those seeds.
And then so with Janelle, back in Hollywood, back in Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, we started going to New Hope, and Janelle accepted Christ on Easter. I think it was 4 years ago now, 5 years, might be
Wow.
5 years ago now. So we're working together and working through, it's the one thing that we try to keep centered in our life is God, and we always come back to center. I always tell people, God is always center. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's us that we kind of tiptoe back and forth. Well, God was okay.
Right.
But
Yeah, he's not right or
seeing-
left. He's
not-
centered.
he's
That's
center.
what we are. I'm not right, left. I don't want to get in that. Centered.
So I always tell people, I always tell the kids, come back to center. Come back to center.
Wow.
Because we go out here, and like I said, I'm not perfect. There's times where I do stuff, and I'm going,
we
okay,
know that.
gotta come back
we
to
know
center.
that.
Come back to center. And so.
Well,
But
let's
your-
talk
but
about your
Savior is.
let's talk about your foundation because I think this is very
Yeah.
special. What placed it on your heart to start the Jeremy Staat Foundation?
In a million years, I never thought I'd be doing this, but it's a service. And one of my friends, David Jackson, who was a Vietnam veteran, he was a first sergeant in the Army. He came to me and said, hey, all this community service you're doing, working with the kids and talking to the kids, why don't you start your own foundation? I'm like, whoa, I don't, no, I don't want that. I don't want anything to do with that. And he goes, no, you need to start your own foundation. I said, all right, very well. So I started doing the paperwork and putting everything together. And, and the thing about it is at the time, I don't have don't make millions of dollars. I don't have millions of dollars. I mean,
Mhm.
I live paycheck to paycheck, and so at the time it was like I was having to raise the funds to
Are you
pay.
still in the Marines?
No, I'm out. I got out in September '09.
So how do you make your living? You said a paycheck. You're entrepreneur, aren't you?
Yeah, entrepreneur. I do welding on the side. I do carpentry. I do.
Okay, see,
do
let's
stuff.
get real. Let's get real. God keeps us real.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Okay,
if it-
Van Eric, he knows we got to do what we got to do.
I mean, if
Okay.
he gave it, I mean, like I said, he gives us what we need to
Don't be
survive.
don't be lazy.
You know, I've
I
got a
like what you're saying.
retirement, but I can't get to it till I'm 65. You know, I got my NFL retirement, but
Right.
they don't pay me. Everybody thinks that I made all this money. I made 1.6 million over 6 years. 60% of it was gone to taxes.
Yeah, I think people don't realize
That was
that.
I don't
15
realize
years
that.
ago, you know,
Okay.
and then I went to the
Alright.
Marine Corps making $14,000 a year. So I mean, I'm not rich by
Boy,
any
you
means.
like Paul. You've learned to be. You know how it is to be prosperous and have nothing. You've been, you know, God has
You've been
trained
on
you
both
well.
spectrums.
And I'm happier now than when I had the money, because when I had the money, I was running around, running the clubs in
I would
Scottsdale,
concur
doing
with
all
you
this
on
kind of
that,
stupid
yeah.
stuff,
You
you know.
did too.
I've been there too. Where
You know,
so much
I haven't.
success,
I
fast
want
paced.
to go. God.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, people that, you know, I tell people, you know, if you've got problems before you have money, that
Is
money's
it
only
true?
going to
I
amplify.
keep hearing that. I'd like
know.
to just find out. But is it true?
I'm drinking and smoking weed and all this kind of stuff.
Okay.
I just wish I had money to get out of this funk. Well, wait a minute. If you got out of this funk, you'd still be drinking more beer and you'd
Right.
probably be smoking more
More-
expensive weed. You know, It's-
Okay.
And that's what happens.
That's
that
what we want to
addiction.
tell people
yeah.
looking out there. This is so awesome. And to give just the men that are in my life here today is just blessing me. Ladies, there's a whole nother side here. This is awesome. Go ahead.
Well, let's talk Jeremy Staat Foundation. So you start the foundation. I want to hear about the Kern County Wall of Valor, because this is, I think, very
That's
special.
a part of this. I'm trying
that's
to.
where
Okay,
it all started. That's where it was. You
that's
know,
for the Vietnam, but then it went to the kids in
no,
school.
no. It was yeah. Basically, we were going for the Wall of Valor. They needed about, I think it was like $300,000 to put up the panels. So the panels have all the names of all the veterans who have died since World War II
Okay.
from Kern County. So you got
Got
World
that.
War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan.
Okay.
And so we were raising this money, but what we were doing is going into the schools and talking to the kids about what it is to be a veteran, what it is to serve. And so I was doing all this just on my own free time. I was
Okay.
like going in
Wow.
there, and then that's when my friend David Jackson said, "Man, you need to start your own foundation." And then I found out about, you know, the $3,500 to $10,000 an hour. I go, this is out of control. I'm gonna go and have, you know, I'll start a 501c3 so that people can donate and sponsor me to go talk to the kids. That way, I'm not taking money away from the schools.
But you are getting compensated.
Sometimes
What you have to because you have.
Sometimes,
Yeah, but that's not your cause. But
That's
you
not
want
my
to.
cause.
All right, I got it.
My biggest thing is making sure that my expenses, my fuel is paid for, my plane trips, you know, because some people are asking me to go all the way to Pittsburgh. I'm
Yeah,
like, well,
you
yeah,
have
that's a
to have
$600 flight.
Yeah,
I mean,
you have
I
a
Yeah.
wife and a baby and a
I
family.
got kids, and
right.
so I'm also in school getting my welding degree so I can teach other people how to a life skill, because that's one of the things too a lot of these guys aren't having. I think that's what leading to a lot of the
Wow.
suicides. Suicide is the number one killer of even our youth from 14 to 25.
And let's talk about this.
Yeah, it's number one killer of our
That
veterans
just
right
makes me
now.
cry.
We've lost more veterans to suicide than we have in combat zones going all the way back to the Korean War.
That's amazing.
You know, and suicide is just a
Such
a decision.
hopelessness. Why?
it's just a oh, what's the, well, I read it the other day. You know, it's a oh gosh, I can't think of how it went, but basically it's the end of a, you know, for a temporary solution. It's a,
Oh yeah, it's
God, I'm
it's a
permanent solution to a
A
temporary
there
problem.
it is. You know, it's
Right.
like there's nothing in
Yes.
life worth taking your life. I mean, if you take your life, you're never going to solve that problem. And that's why I kept telling my kids, you know, if you're going out and you're drinking because you got a bad score on a test, or you're mad at your parents, or you're doing all this stuff to get back. If you're drinking to get rid of a problem, the problem is that problem's still going to exist the next morning. Except now you're going to be hungover, you're going to have a headache, you're going to, you know,
And sometimes it causes more problems. And that's usually
Absolutely.
where the addiction comes in. But let's
Well,
talk about the Kern County
suicide. Yeah.
War of Valor. So what did you do to raise these funds? Because I thought it was pretty amazing what you did.
Yeah, basically, I mean, we went out to the schools, asked the kids to do penny drives. The reason I wanted the kids to get involved and take ownership is when you have skin in the game, when you have money invested in something, you're unlikely to destroy it. And my thing is like I'd go around to different organizations or see different memorials, and I'd see like kids where they're tagging on it or riding their skateboards across, and it's like, wait a minute, do you understand what the sacrifice these individuals went through so that you could ride your skateboard through here?
Right
Like,
on.
let's have some
Right on.
respect.
Right
Let's
on.
learn how to give back to others, and let's learn that, you know, these are sacred grounds, and it's not for you to spit your gum on, spit on, ride your skateboards. You know, let's get some of this back in there. And so the Wall of Valor, we went. I mean,
You rode across from wall to wall.
yeah, from Bakersfield, California. That was the wall to wall. That's where we coined it, wall to wall, the Wall of Valor in Bakersfield, to the Vietnam Memorial Wall in Washington D.C.
So
That's
you
what you were
rode
talking
from
about.
Bakersfield to Washington.
So what I did to bring awareness and to bring some awareness to our Vietnam veterans and to suicide and to a more efficient VA system, veteran educational information centers on all college campuses, as well as childhood obesity, I rode a bicycle from Bakersfield, 3,468 miles through 16 states,
Wow.
78 cities. I visited 15 VA hospitals, 15 military installations.
And in between, you spoke as well.
Absolutely. So I'd ride for 4 or 5 hours, get off my bike, do speaking events, 2 or 3 speaking events, raise funds so we could pay for gas and
How
hotels.
many speaking events did you do?
I did 176 different events.
176.
See, you thought you went to boot camp for
In a-
that. God put you
Yeah.
through boot camp for.
In 100 days. So in
Wow.
100 days at 176 events. But one of the biggest things too was I wanted to prove to myself and to the rest of America that I could do a national campaign for less than 10, because at the time I think there was elections and stuff were going on. I'm going, why are they spending all this money on all this money?
On this propaganda,
all
yeah.
this stuff what we could be using to better our schools and better our kids, because I believe our kids are the future. I mean, they're more valuable than gold, silver, and all the oil we can pump out of the ground. I mean, they are their future. And so I'm going, why are we not investing more money? Why are we not teaching these kids life lessons and life skills? And so as I'm riding across the country, like I said, I was just raising awareness about veteran suicide. Right now, 22 veterans a day commit suicide. 1,000 a month are attempting it. We've lost more veterans to suicide than we have in combat zones all the way back to the Korean War. It's the number one killer of our veterans is suicide.
Of the veterans today, as well as the Vietnam vets.
Oh, the
too,
Vietnam
right?
veterans. The Vietnam veterans are still the highest percentage of
Because
suicide.
you think because when they came back here, I'm not saying because, but when they came back here, they were scorned. They didn't have provisions. Is that what you're talking about? Is that
Absolutely.
the welding trades you were talking about?
Well, not only that, but at the same time, I see a lot of my generational vets, our Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. They're very I can't say ungrateful, but they're very entitled. They don't realize they're not getting the benefits they're getting today because of what they did. They're getting it because of what the Vietnam veterans and the Korean War veterans and the World War II veterans and all what they went through is the reason we're getting it. But at the same time, so with suicide being so high, it also is connected to, our VA system. Our VA system is basically our health care. On average, it takes 157 days for a VA claim to get processed. That means it takes 157 days for the VA to say, yes, you have a valid claim. And then it takes another 4 to 6 months for you to see a doctor. And then it takes another 4 to 6, 8 months on top of that if you need surgery. I've seen
God!
that
So
is
they come back
amazing.
without any of their needs being met,
None of-
medically, emotionally.
And I can see Van Eric is a vet as
yeah,
well.
Yeah, he's shaking his
And
head
he's
up
shaking
and
his
down.
head. He
Yeah.
And
feels
see,
that.
and he's one of the ones. I mean, some of our guys have
Come
been
on,
waiting
vet, come on.
over 40 years. Some of our guys have been waiting over 40 years for their benefits, and they're
That's
still
amazing.
not getting them. But yet, what kills me, I say, if we can't take care of 22 million veterans with our federal health care system, how are we going to take care of 314 million Americans?
Right.
With the
I
new,
want to give Van Eric a plug here because he has a
Yeah.
show that's coming up.
Yeah.
That's a very special show that has to do with veterans.
Yes, thank you
Van?
for allowing me to
course.
participate. Yes, it's called Trench Talk. Our first show is next Saturday, premiere show from 1:30 to 2:30, and
wow.
then starting July, we're going to run it every Saturday. And as Jeremy was saying, that is correct because, I have a claim in. I was just diagnosed for PTSD. And
Really? You never know.
and it's going to take a while, which it shouldn't, but it does. And the people that myself and Farhan have been talking to, hopefully we can speed up the process
And bring some awareness and education to the situation.
Exactly, so that a person who comes back with missing limbs and stuff like that, knowing that they need some type of assistance, won't have to wait 100 and some odd days
Like you
to
just said.
to do that, because that's ridiculous. If I come back from serving my country and I'm coming back and I'm missing an arm and a leg, I should immediately get
Some type of
compensation to help me. I shouldn't have to be waiting for the government to say, okay, this guy got a missing a leg and an arm, or this woman.
Or depressed as heck too.
Yeah,
like
and
you
depressed
said, emotionally,
because
yeah.
Anybody who has to, like Jeremy was saying, have to shoot a child or a woman, it's going to come back not right.
Yeah.
And for them not to get the proper treatment and the financial help to allow them to be able to survive through that, it's ridiculous. So
It really is.
hopefully we can do
And
something.
your foundation brings awareness to that as well, correct?
Absolutely.
Thank
You
you,
know,
Van Eric. That's awesome.
we can't. I mean, I don't have the funds, nor do I
Oh,
have the
no.
time to
But the
fix this. But
awareness
I
of
got to
this.
raise the awareness. I mean, we've got to continue to go out there and show people and tell people, hey, what's going on? Because if people don't know, they just sweep it under the rug. But not only that, but hey, talk about what's happening with their suicide, because now it's not only is it affecting our military men and women, it's affecting the family members. I've heard a story
That's
about
right.
a
It
month
trickles
ago.
down.
It trickles down. I've heard of siblings committing suicide because all the attention went to their sibling.
That's what I was saying at the show. It's not just that; it's everybody's affected by it.
I had a grandfather commit suicide because he outlived his grandson.
Oh.
And it's an epidemic. It's an ongoing thing. And we've got to do something about it to stop this, and and to pray with people and to love on them and to give them opportunity. I'm all about giving people opportunities. I don't believe in just giving people fish. I believe you teach them to fish. You give them fish, you feed them for a night. You teach them to fish, you feed them for a lifetime.
Exactly.
There's one other thing I want to touch on before you guys switch. It's so prevalent on my heart. The fact that you have with the kids too. You were saying 14 to 25.
25.
The thing that's so beautiful about your story is that these kids are giving up hope because they don't feel like they're going to aspire to what the media is telling them to be getting this beautiful woman or all this money or being a sports figure and you're telling them it's not that. It's not that, guys. I've been there. I've got the looks, the money, the talent. I want you to touch on that too.
Absolutely. Well, think about it. When I was playing in the league, I mean, I had a 5,000 square foot house. I lived on a golf course. I had 3 cars, a motorcycle, big Olympic-sized swimming pool. Everything that life had to offer me, and it wasn't it. It's not it. Because at the end of the day, no one's gonna care how big Jeremy Stott's house was. No one's gonna care what kind of car I drove. No one's gonna care how much money I had in the bank. The only thing that they're gonna care about are the relationships that I cultivated and the legacy I left behind. That's all it's gonna matter. That goes with all of us.
With Christ and that's what you're saying.
Oh, absolutely. It's at the end, the Marine Corps showed me one thing, or a lot of things, but 5 things that I always carry with me. And 5 things in life we need: air, water, food, shelter, companionship. Whether it be with you guys or with Christ, that's all we need. All the other stuff is just icing on the cake.
Right.
Exactly.
Tell those kids.
Exactly. Because
guys, don't look at TV and all that stuff they're telling us.
we as
need a
human
new car.
beings, we those are the things we need to
That's right.
survive. Man and woman wasn't meant to be by themselves.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
So
If you
that
got that, you got it.
companionship, that feeling that the soul has when somebody really believes in you, helps you get that confidence.
You're rich. You're rich. You're rich. You're rich. What you just have. I don't have a squat in the bank, but I'm rich.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And we talk
You're
about
rich.
that all the time. That
You're
the
rich.
relation that God put us on this earth for relationships, to love on one another,
That's
and to
right.
encourage and inspire one another through I believe through Christ Jesus.
Well, it's like my wife. My
powerful
wife. I tell
story.
her all the time. I said, we're blessed. We don't have a savings, but we got a mortgage and 2 car payments, and then the rest is like little dinky stuff, internet and stuff. I said, but we're blessed. We're healthy. Our son,
Right.
well, he's a little sick right now, but he's healthy. He's a growing boy. He's happy. We're blessed beyond means. And I just look at we have all this stuff with stuff that we don't even use.
Right,
it's like
exactly.
we're blessed. But
Well, that goes into my next question.
Yeah,
The
that's
premise of the
awesome.
show is joy in my house. And we always like to ask this of all of our guests. And through your ups and downs, Jeremy, and through your family life now and where you are, we like to ask you, what does joy in my house mean to you in this day and age and today?
joy in my house is always coming back to center. Regardless of how far out, like I said, there was times in my relationship with my wife, there was times where we weren't getting along. I didn't talk to her for like a week and a half after Mother's Day because we got in a big old fight. But, we came back and we found a way, and having that center, we can come back because regardless, of what we've done, we can always come back to center. He's always going to be there with open arms, and if we continue to love him, he's going to show us how to love others and to
That's right.
and to give grace. And that's the biggest thing, is giving grace. There's times, like I said, I got issues where it's like, I don't want to give this guy grace. He just cut me off. I want to get up there and ram his car, but at the same time, take a breath, give grace, and
That's
so
awesome.
in my house,
Keep it centered. I
keeping
love it.
centered, staying centered, and always coming back to that, regardless of how much we mess up, come back to center.
Right.
Wow, that's really well
Well,
said.
Jeremy, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Oh.
I want everybody out there to find the JeremyStattFoundation.com or .org.
Remember when
.org.
you talk about
.org.
that.
The JeremyStattFoundation.org. Go out and support them. You can support them financially, or if you want to donate your time and your energy, they can use that as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Statt
Yeah,
from the
it's
Jeremy
been a
Statt
real
Foundation.
honor. And get some sleep.
Welcome,
Oh, I will.
welcome,
Thank you.
welcome
And you
to
better
the show.
make up for Mother's Day. Janelle, I want to hear you make up for it.
This is Joy in My House, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to catch us next week live again on latalklive.com, live at noon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Joy in My House. You be blessed today. Have a great week. Bye, Veneer. Bye.
Constant spins not trusting. He opens doors to go in, but I'm afraid to depend upon him. I bring him ashes for gold. He starts to work. I put him on hold. Still he's faithful to me. Cause he's blind as to see. I'm praising God. Praising God. I'm praising God. Praising God. I'm praising God. Praising God. I'm praising God. Oh, I'm praising God. He's all to me, my life, my love. He sets me free, I love him any time of day. I close my eyes and I can pray to Jesus. Come and follow me, I'll make you whole if you serve me. It is you